Hi, I'm Darren Miles with Darren Miles Photography, based here in beautiful, sunny Naples, Florida. It's time to return to the archives of photography past by dusting off a legendary lens, the Nikon 200mm f2.0. The 200mm f2.0, often referred to as chubby, came out in 2004 as the first VR version of the lens, and not the current VR2 version of the lens. It's often held up as one of the single best lenses ever from the factories at Nikon. Some say it's even better than the version 2 in 2010. Is that even possible? Well, let's find out. So first up is the build quality. And really, do we even need to discuss the build? This thing is all metal from the mount to the lens hood. Nikon has really outdone itself with the 200 f2. Small wonder this lens is referred to as chubby. I mean, just look at that front element. This thing is stout and fat and heavy, tipping the scale at 6.4 pounds. Wow. The 200's build and fluid action embody the silky precision of a super telephoto. The focus ring, well, it's huge, but it has two levels, which can be a bit confusing the first time you use it because, well, it's hard to describe, but it just feels strange. The ring itself doesn't put up heavy resistance, but it is smooth. The option switches on the side here, they have a nice quality feel, and they snap into place with authority. Now on the inside, there are 13 elements arranged in 9 groups, and included in that formula are 3 extra low dispersion elements and 1 super extra low dispersion element. Nikon has also done or included this 52mm drop-in filter module, which is so much more practical than, say, the 105mm filters you'd have to buy on some third-party options like, say, for example, the Sigma 120-300 f2.8s. A great lens, but you need big filters. The Nikon focuses internally, meaning nothing on the outside of the lens actually moves, and the aperture ranges from f2 all the way to f22 with 9 rounded aperture blades, creating the lens's stunningly beautiful bokeh. Now, Nikon claims that the vibration reduction is good for 3 stops of stabilization. Now, that's really hard to quantify, but I see no reason to doubt that assertion. The lens is also dust and moisture resistant, and frankly, it had better be at these very lofty prices. Now, on the downside, the tripod foot that's included with the lens, well, it's a bit on the small side, and a lot of photographers opt for the really right stuff foot, which is an option out there, and that's actually what I've done here. But simply put, the 200mm f2 from Nikon is a piece of fantastic, wrapped up in awesomeness, and easily earns a 10 out of 10 for build quality. So next up is AF speed and accuracy. And you think sports, indoor and outdoor, and think sideline photographers at, say, an NFL game, who need stunningly accurate and fast focus. And frankly, the 200mm f2 does not disappoint. It's really hard to explain just how fast this lens is capable of focusing, especially if you've used silent wave or ultrasonic focus motors before on other lenses from, say, maybe Canon. I thought those lenses were fast. That is, until I picked up a Nikon 200mm f2 VR. You can hear a slight whirring as the motor spools the elements into place. But it happens so fast, it just kind of blows your mind. Let me just give you a real sample here. The beep is on, and here goes. I'm just gonna go around and focus randomly so you can hear how fast this thing focuses in real time. So here goes. And the beep is on, you can hear that. Hear that sound? It's pretty fast. Wow. I mean, you get the idea. Not only is that fast, it's also crazy accurate. And the tracking focus is also equally incredible. Check this next scene out here. This is my son on his electric scooter coming at me at about 15 miles per hour, about as fast as, say, your average running back. So take a look at this. I think you get the idea. Not only is this thing built like a tank, but the AF speed and accuracy is just stellar, scoring another perfect 10 out of 10. So next up is optical quality and the quality of the results. We already told you that it's built like a tank and the AF is incredible, but how are the optics? Because if you're going to spend this kind of money on a lens, then frankly this thing had better deliver the goods. Be it for portraiture, I know a lot of photographers buy this lens for portraits, I happen to be one of them, or if they buy it for sport. Let me confirm it right now, the 200mm f2 does deliver, in spades. Now that said, the optics aren't perfect. In fact, if there's an Achilles heel with the 200 f2, it's its performance against really bright light, which frankly, that's an area where a lot of lenses tend to struggle anyway. More often than not, you're not going to be pointing this thing directly at a bright light source during a shoot, but if you do, watch out, because flare and haze do in fact have the potential to ruin your image. But rather than talking up the optical quality, see for yourself. In the next 2 minutes or so, you're going to see a series of stills and video clips showcasing the otherwise optical amazingness of the Nikon 200mm f2 lens. Oh yeah, oh yeah. So last up is value. Now keep in mind, the version 1 of this lens that we're reviewing today is no longer in production. And they're kind of hard to come by in the used marketplace. And I've seen prices range from $2,800 to $3,500 or more for nice complete copies of the lens. Now that's a pretty stiff premium for a lens that, for all intents and purposes, isn't all that practical to carry around all day, could be 12 years old, and is limited to very specific uses, specifically or namely sports and portraits. And this will almost certainly come without a warranty. These are important things to consider. You got to remember also, this is a fixed focal length lens. It's heavy, just over 6 pounds, and you're also going to need some space to use it. As I neglected to mention earlier, the minimum focus distance of this thing is just over 6 feet. That's kind of far from the camera. Now, because it's so big and unwieldy, it's advisable to invest in a sturdy tripod or a monopod to achieve the best results. Now, if you can handle all of that, then you're going to be in for a treat of a lens. However, many photographers have expressed buyer's remorse because the 200mm f2 is really impractical and attracts some unwanted attention when you're out in the public on shoots. Now, I understand and I've experienced all of that, but I put up with it because, frankly, the results that I get truly separate me from my competition. Lastly, when compared to the nearly $6,000 price tag of the new VR2 version, for what appears to be a similar optical formula, save nanocrystal coatings and a one-stop better vibration reduction system, then the VR1 is looking like a relatively good value, despite its $3,000 price tag. So for value, the 200mm f2 gets an 8 out of 10. So to wrap up this review, we give the Nikon 200mm f2 VR lens a 47.5 out of 50 and our highly recommended rating. A final word. If you can find a good one and are willing to put up with its obvious impracticalities, then you're going to be rewarded with some amazing images, sublime optics, spectacular build quality, and AF performance that's straight out of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. It's awesome. This is Darren Miles with Darren Miles Photography, based here in beautiful, sunny Naples, Florida. If you like these reviews, please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and until the next time, happy shooting.